Nobody talks about what poverty teaches you. They talk about escaping it. They talk about surviving it. They talk about being ashamed of it. But nobody stops and says, wait, what did that hard life actually give me? This is the story of Daniel, a boy who had nothing, and because of that, learned everything. Daniel grew up in a small, cracked house at the edge of a noisy town. The walls were thin, the winters were cold, and the dinner table was sometimes empty. His father worked 2 jobs and still came home tired and broke. His mother stitched clothes for neighbors just to pay the electricity bill. Daniel wore the same shoes for 2 years. He watched his classmates talk about vacations, new phones, birthday parties. He never said a word. He just watched, and he learned. Not from books, not from teachers, from life, from hunger, from silence. At 17, Daniel got a part-time job at a small grocery store. He woke up at 5 every morning, walked 40 minutes to work, came back, studied till midnight, slept 4 hours, and did it all again. Some days his feet hurt so much he could barely stand. Some days a customer would speak to him rudely, like he was invisible, like he didn't matter. He would go to the back of the store, take a deep breath, and come back with a straight face. Not because he was weak, but because he understood something most people never do. You don't always get to react. Sometimes you just have to keep moving. His rich classmates complained about slow Wi-Fi. Daniel was grateful the store lights stayed on so he could read during his break. That gap, that small, painful gap, was teaching him something priceless. One evening, Daniel's manager, an older man named Mr. Aurora, watched him counting his small wage carefully, coin by coin. Mr. Aurora didn't say anything at first. Then he sat beside Daniel and said quietly, "You know what's funny about money, son? The people who never struggled for it spend it like it means nothing. But the people who bled for every single coin, they know its real weight." Daniel looked at those coins in his hand, and something shifted inside him. He realized poverty hadn't been punishing him, it had been training him. Daniel began to see everything differently. His struggle had taught him patience, because he had no choice but to wait. It had taught him gratitude, because he knew what it felt like to go without. It had taught him focus, because he couldn't afford to waste time. It had taught him resilience, because falling apart was simply not an option. The rich kids around him had comfort, but Daniel had character. And slowly, quietly, Daniel began to rise. Here is what poverty teaches you that success never can. It teaches you that you are enough, even when you have nothing. It teaches you that real strength isn't built in comfort, it's built in the cold. It teaches you that the people who rise from nothing rise differently, with humility, with hunger, with a fire that was never handed to them. Success can give you a better life, but struggle gives you a better self. Daniel made it, not overnight, not easily, but fully. And years later, when someone asked him, "What was your greatest teacher?" he didn't say a school, he didn't say a mentor, he didn't say a book. He smiled quietly and said, "The years when I had nothing. Those years taught me everything that my success never could." If this story touched something inside you, like, share, and subscribe to The Wise Path, because every week we tell the stories that remind you who you really are.